Hello everyone, welcome to Telangana Exam Center and Master Mains classes. Today in our model question and answer series, we are discussing the question number 10th. The question number 10th is very important because this is a time where India needs lot of support from this sector of economy. So we are talking about private investment. Okay, the investment that should come from the people, the investment that should come from the business firms, the investment that should come from the investors. So that particular investments are called as private investments. The investment can be channelized from households, from the institutional investments in the form of what companies, or from foreign direct investment is also fine here. So basically any investment apart from government investment is called as private investment. So private investment plays a very important role in financing and developing large government projects. Just like in our Telangana, we are having metro rail. This particular complete project, majority of it has been sanctioned, or you can say that funded by L&T, Lordson and Torbo, a private investment company. So private investment does plays a very important role in financing and developing large infrastructure government projects. Discuss the challenges. What are the challenges with regard to private investment? When we are talking about challenges, it means that this particular investments from the private institutions and individuals are not happening in a very good way, not happening as we are expecting. That is the reason we are also discussing here challenges. So before going into the discussion, as I have been always telling you that those who are watching me for the very first time, please see that when you're writing the model answer, you should be covering part A and part 2. Part A should be all of these you have to cover in the chronological order so that your answer looks meaningful to the examiner or to the evaluator. Part 2 is all about qualitative aspect that you have to improve over a period of time, such as handwriting, medium words, not small, not too big, underlining, space management, etc. Right? Let us start our discussion by ending this particular advertisement. So our particular channel is a one-stop solution to economy and formation paper, which constitute around 300 marks in group 1 and group 2. And in group 3 also we are having complete paper on what? Economy and formation. So remember this point here, you can score more than 300 marks in 1, 2, 3, which is a very huge marks. Almost like you can understand that if you are in group 2 and group 3, if you are in 300 plus, it means you are topper in the country itself, in the state itself. Okay, but in group 1 out 400 450 is the basically the cutoff is there. So if you are getting 300 marks from these papers, just imagine that how easy it would be for you to get into what the merit list. It is very important for all of you to also understand that nowadays it is not the trend that you should join a particular institution and associate it with them, because you'll get in standard SOPs and you'll not be getting that much of focus from the institution, from the faculties, because faculties, as I already taught you, will only deal the subjects and go. But if you're learning the subject from the individual educators, okay, like me, like any other, what will happen is our complete focus will be on you, and we will help to resolve all your grievances, all your doubts, and at the efficient levels. That is the reason gone are the trends where you have to join institution. Better is to learn every subject and perfect it with every educator. So make sure that you do a part of it. The details of them are given here. You can go through. Telangana Current Affairs monthly, this is year-long subscription is there. Whatever I will be uploading on the YouTube with regard to Telangana Current Affairs, all the PDF soft copies will be available here, along with the economic survey and Telangana budget document also. So this is a must buy for any of the aspirants who are aiming to write any examination in the state. Now this particular article is taken from what Business Standard. You can see here private investment conundrum, means a stoppage is happening. Policy interventions, government policy should be that good that it should intervene in this private investments, whatever the challenges are there, in order to improve the prospects of them contributing and participating in the economy. So whenever we are writing this particular answer, the first thing that we have to do is, I'll tell you here what is the meaning of private investment, you can write, and how the private investment is there. Government investment is how much. If you are writing this three, that is only called as introduction. In the body of the answer, you are going to write what important subheadings which are actually facing the challenges with regard to what private investment in our economy. Then you are going to write conclusion. All of these we'll see one by one in a bit. Please listen to me very carefully. Okay. Developing countries like India like India is a developing country. By 2047, we are going to become a developed country, but at this point of time, we are a developing country. So developing countries generally are starved out of adequate investment. That is very true. Obviously, our budget is always a deficit budget. That is the reason in developing countries are generally suffering from what? Very less amount of money. That's why we have written a very good word here, start of adequate investment. It's not that developing countries like India don't do investment, but they do, but it is not adequate according to the vision of the government Viksit Bharat or the improvement levels that we have to achieve. So developing countries generally are start of adequate investment in various sectors of economy. Due to why this also because happens by government generally launches lots of welfare measures which are characterized either by subsidy or non-debt expenditure on the citizen. Nothing but free money given to the citizens, and also taking a lot of social welfare measures. As most of the money of the government goes for these kind of welfare measures, they are left with very small chunk of money with them, which will not help them to accelerate the investment in our country. That's why private investment becomes inevitable and compulsive in our country. Now, the union government capital expenditure increased from 1.67% of gross domestic product in 2019-20 to 3.4% in 2024 to 2025. Okay, with regard to government investment, it is increased, whereas private investment remained tepid. Not that as we are expecting, it is very slow and stagnant, you can say here. What are the challenges? Let us see the challenges one by one. Twin balance sheet problem. Lot of times what happen is the private investment will be there in a particular project, and just like the recent case of Hyderabad city where Kancha Gachibowli forest area has been up for auction, means government is saying that if anybody takers are there to build a future city there, please come. So we are actually building a future city in Gachibowli area in Hyderabad city, Telangana state. For those who are watching me from other state, I am telling to them. Okay, so that particular land area is up for auction. Nothing but developers like any kind of construction developer, whatever it is, Birla, Ambani, they can take that particular land and they can develop the land into future city according to the vision, according to the dynamics of the government. So, but what happened? The land was up for auction, but government, there was protest with regard to that particular land because it harbors a lot of fauna, flora, and lungs of Hyderabad. So that is the reason the government again took back its decision, not auctioning it. So in this way, what happens? The corporate people, the companies who wanted to invest there, takes up loans and do some MOUs with lot of bank sectors, etc. And ultimately, they cannot able to start their project. But loans or whatever the seed capital they might have acquired, that because of the long gestation period, because of the various environment and social economic hurdles, lot of times what happens, the corporate cannot start their projects on time due to protest by the government, protest by the people, due to the policies changed by the government or change of the government at the state level whatsoever, leading to a twin deficit problem, twin balance sheet problem. Here corporate balance sheet is having a problem, their bank's balance sheet will have a problem. Unwillingness in the private sector is still there in a big way. Private sector does not want to invest so big in our country. They are unwilling to it. Means they don't want to start a very big plant where they can employ 10,000 people. They don't do that way. So there is already an unwillingness is there with regard to private people to invest in a big way. Now, if you see the gross capital formation, this is a subheading. India's gross fixed capital formation at constant prices is expected to be 33.4% of this financial year, which is very low. It should be more than 50%. Gross capital formation is nothing but the amount of asset accumulates over a period of time. The more amount of assets accumulate, the more production can happen, more employment can be generated, and that's how the output will be more and GDP will be impacted positively. So, but what is happening? The gross capital formation at constant prices is very, very low. It has to increase. Underutilization of capacities, whatever the plant, factories, or whatever the business unit is there. According to RBI data shows capital utilization, especially in manufacturing industries, is only 75%. Means whatever the capacity that they are having, they are using 75% capacity only. Rest capacity they are not translating into what? Any kind of output. Okay, which is also a kind of worrisome problem to what? To the private investors. lower export. The share of exports in GDP according to the data maintained by the World Bank increased from 15% in 2003, means after reforms, to over 25% in 2013. But if you are saying from recent year, it again fell down to 18.7%. So when our exports are decreasing, it means what? Much companies are not investing here in order to export material, in order to be marketable surplus. They are not able to do that. That is the reason lower exports. Okay, maybe because of competitiveness, maybe because of reciprocal tariff of the Donald Trump, maybe because of quality of whatever it is. Lower exports are there, underutilization of capacity. Maybe here you can have one point here that saying that the power related aspects will be there, majorly affecting what? Industry strikes will be there, lockouts will be there. Okay, all that way may be affecting the production also. Okay, right. Conclusion: beside higher expenditure government is doing on improving infrastructure, the government has already been doing several things, measures to initiate to facilitate investment. It has, for instance, already removed over 42,000 compliances since 2014, means the rules that have to be followed, 42,000 rules has been removed. Around 3,700 legal provisions has also been decriminalized, and the government is continuously continuing to move in this direction. The prospects of deregulation commission are also being discussed, means regulating the economy, deregulating. So a deregulation commission should be there. This regulation commission, basically the firms will actually establish at the ground level. So this commission will be established at the state level, and they will help what kind of deregulations the Indian industries want, and accordingly they will give the rules, regulations and protocols that all investors have to actually perform, actually comply, and all the private investments will be definitely impacted, because when you are having less gitch or less kind of what cumbersome or complex process, what happens is it gives you a temptation to invest. Okay, that is what we are going to do with the help of deregulation commission. I hope this is all clear to you. More than this you cannot write in the examination, so make sure that you read it and go. That's more than enough. Bye bye, take care, do join the courses and empower us.